Here we are at Fast Eddie's in Tok, getting ready to depart for Dawson City on the trek over the top. Machines are loaded, running. We just got to get on our cold gear before we leave. It's about 20 below zero. Heading off into the morning sun. Crossing the parking lot at Fast Eddie's restaurant, we realized that most riders have already left for Dawson. Where there were 30 machines a half hour ago, there are only a couple machines left. It's 10:30 a.m. and we have 188 miles to cover before sundown. We travel a trail along the Yukon highway east towards Canada. A few miles out, we cross under the highway at Tok River Bridge. My riding partner, Steve Anderson of Wasilla, Alaska, passes me, and we settle into a pattern of leapfrogging ever so often to make sure the other rider is okay. Eventually, we arrive at the Tanana River Bridge construction site. The Alaska Department of Transportation used explosives just last week to bring this World War II era bridge down. The pile of steel girders to the right is all that's left of the bridge now. The new bridge off to the right was completed last summer. We turn left onto the Tanana River and travel north a few hundred yards before turning right again or east into the woods alongside the highway. Eventually we arrive at the junction of the Yukon Highway and the Taylor Highway, where we encounter the trail groomer used by the Trailblazers Snowmobile Club in Tok to make our journey smooth. We turn left or north once again towards Chicken, Alaska. We have traveled 13 miles from Tok, and the road sign ahead says 66 miles from here to Chicken. Chicken will be our first stop, where we will get gas and eat lunch. It doesn't take long before we encounter a rider with a broken down machine. He has broken a drive belt and luckily brought a replacement. Steve pulls the machine backwards to help wind the new belt onto the drive clutch. Making sure the machine is repaired, we move on towards Chicken. It isn't long before the rider overtakes us and speeds into the distance. We are averaging 45 miles per hour. This is a good steady pace on a trail that we've never seen before. Stopping at the Mount Fairplay pullout, we take a moment to stretch our knees, drink some water, and change the music on our smartphones. There are more than 160 riders on this trek, and the vast majority are ahead of us. Steve realizes that he likes being at the back of the pack, so that he isn't constantly looking in his rearview mirrors to see if someone is trying to pass. Mount Fairplay is roughly the halfway point between the start of the Taylor Highway and the community of Chicken, Alaska. The sun is beginning to warm the trail. It is 10 below, but we are hoping for a high of 0 during the warmest part of the afternoon. Our cold weather gear is doing its job, and we are staying warm. 30 miles later, as we descend into the 40-mile river basin, the temperature drops noticeably. At the bottom of the basin lies Chicken, Alaska. The 40-mile river was designated as a wild and scenic river in 1980 because of its scenic, recreational, and historic values. It is a remote, clear-flowing river located in the interior of Alaska near the U.S. and Canada border. Placer gold was first discovered on the river in 1886 and is still being mined today. We pull into the parking lot, and I, for one, am happy to have caught up to some riders. We have only seen 3 other riders since leaving Tok. Inside, I'm going to treat myself to some hot chocolate and a chili dog. The 80 to 90 degree temperature change from outside instantly fogs the lens of my helmet cam when I walk inside. I am using a GoPro Hero camera with two 32GB SD cards and two spare batteries to record the trek. After taking 45 minutes to eat lunch and warm up, we head outside to top off our gas tanks. As part of our trek entry fee, we have already prepaid for a fill-up. Our 4-stroke 660cc engines are more fuel efficient than most 2-stroke snow machine engines. My machine with an 11-gallon tank takes 6 gallons of fuel on this fill-up. With my 370-pound load of rider and gear, it is averaging a little more than 13 miles to the gallon. Steve's machine with the same engine and gas capacity but with a lighter load only needs 5 gallons of fuel at the fill-up. He is averaging almost 16 miles per gallon. Last night at the Log Cabin Wilderness Lodge near Tok, our host, John Rusniak, told us to say hello to a former student of his that lives in Chicken. That student happens to be Bronk, who just walked up to make sure we were getting our gas. We tell Bronk how nice it was to have the lodge's heated garage last night to fix a coolant leak on Steve's machine. No longer at the back of the pack, we leave Chicken with 43 miles to go before crossing the Canadian border. We still have 109 miles to Dawson. The trail out of Chicken changes from long straight stretches to switchbacks with tight turns, and our pace slows for a while. After a quick stop at Boundary, Alaska to change the camera battery, we are off to the Canadian border about 4.5 miles east. Here, the top of the World Highway earns its name as it skirts the tops of the surrounding hills. The fierce winter winds scour the snow off the highway where it travels over the hilltops. Finally, we arrive at the U.S.-Canada border. The border crossing is closed for the winter, but Canadian Customs is waiting for us in Dawson. Canada Customs already has our names and passport numbers, which we gave on our Trek Over the Top application form several months ago. We have 65 miles to go before arriving in Dawson. The last 35 miles of trail has been rough and ungroomed. I am starting to feel some fatigue in my shoulders, and especially in my throttle thumb. As we crossed the border, we lost an hour traveling from the Alaska to the Pacific time zone. Other riders race past us, anxious to get to Dawson, where a warm meal and a warm bed await. The shadows begin to lengthen as the sun gets lower on the horizon. Parts of the trail are shadowed by the hills. About halfway between the border and Dawson, the Sled Dogs Snowmobile Club offers a warm-up tent for their American guests. They bring in logs by snow machine for a warming fire. The Sled Dogs are responsible for grooming the trail between the border and Dawson, and we are happy to see the good job they've done. The trail on this side of the border is much easier on our aching muscles. We leave the warming tent on the last leg of our journey. With anticipation building, our speed picks up, and we begin passing other riders. We begin a long descent from the hilltops down into the Yukon River Valley. Signs of civilization tell us that we are close to town. Finally, the top of the World Highway dead ends at the Yukon River. We ride down onto the ice road that crosses the river into Dawson. We stop at the Visitor Information Building to check in with Canada Customs and pick up our Trek information packet. A local Yukoner honks his horn and waves in welcome as he sees the American flag on the back of my machine. The Trek has become an important economic boost to the Dawson economy in the dead of winter when tourism is down. The Trek can accommodate up to 600 riders split between 3 different weekends in March. That can translate into a lot of dollars for the local economy. As the customs agent asks me the standard entry questions, she realizes I have a blinking camera on my helmet. She kindly asks me to turn it off.